Good morning, everybody. This is Mike Brennan here at the National Hurricane Center on Wednesday, November 9th with an update on Tropical Storm Nicole. The center of Nicole is approaching Great Abaco Island in the Bahamas. Nicole is a strong tropical storm with maximum winds of about 70 miles per hour. We're already starting to see impacts spreading across not just the northwestern Bahamas, where we're seeing wind gusts over 60 miles an hour and starting to see storm surge, but we're seeing tropical storm force winds and storm surge inundation beginning along much of the Florida East Coast, all the way from places like Palm Beach up to Daytona Beach, Flagler Beach, into St. Augustine. So the impacts from Nicole are starting right now, and we're also starting to see some of the outer rain bands move onshore. You can see the center of Nicole out here on the radar, just to the east of Great Abaco, and these rain bands are starting to move onshore of the east coast of Florida, bringing gusty winds and squally conditions with it. The message overall for Nicole has not really changed much since yesterday. We're expecting the storm to go on and become a hurricane later today or tonight and make landfall as a hurricane along the east central Florida coast, somewhere in the vicinity from Palm Beach up to the Treasure Coast late tonight or early Thursday, and then move northwestward across the Florida Peninsula near or over portions of the extreme northeastern Gulf of Mexico during the day, Thursday into Thursday evening, and then quickly recurve off to the northeast across the southeast United States and into the southern Appalachians during the day Friday. After that time, the center of Nicole is going to merge in with an approaching cold front. The point I want to make about Nicole this morning is this huge wind field. What you see here in orange is a rough extent of the tropical storm force winds extend out more than 450 miles away from the center of Nicole, especially to the north of the circulation. So you can see those winds already moving along the Florida coast within that hurricane warning area, which runs from Palm Beach County up to the Volusia-Flagler County line. That's where we're expecting those hurricane conditions, but we're going to see widespread tropical storm conditions all the way up into the coast of Georgia and portions of the South Carolina coast. We'll talk a little bit more about the wind impacts in a minute. But the big impacts for most tropical storms and hurricanes, and where we see the most fatalities, are from the water. And we're very concerned about storm surge with Nicole, with that large wind field. As I mentioned, we're already seeing storm surge flooding along much of the Florida East Coast. That's going to only get worse as we go through the day and into tonight. In the overnight high tide cycle, we will see 3 to 5 feet of inundation above ground level somewhere in this area from North Palm Beach all the way up past Cape Canaveral, Brevard County, Daytona Beach, St. Augustine, Jacksonville, up to southeast Georgia, Altamaha Sound. That also includes the St. Johns River. That river is still elevated due to the flooding from Hurricane Ian back in late September. We also have a storm surge warning in effect for portions of the Florida Gulf Coast now, from Anclote River up into the Big Bend region to Ocklawahnee River, where we could also see 3 to 5 feet of inundation, 1 to 3 feet possible in the Tampa Bay region down south to Inglewood, and also some 1 to 2 feet in the Miami-Dade County area, Biscayne Bay, 2 to 4 feet along the Broward County coastline. So again, a lot of water are going to be moved around, and we could also see 2 to 4 feet up into places like Charleston and Savannah. Now, that's just the storm surge. We also have the rainfall. Over Florida in the short term, we're expecting widespread rainfall totals of 3 to 5 inches over much of central and eastern Florida, with isolated amounts as high as 8 inches. That could be concentrated along the east coast, where we're seeing that storm surge come in as well. So the combination of the storm surge inundation from the ocean and the rainfall is going to create some pretty significant flooding concerns, especially across coastal areas of eastern Florida. Now, with Nicole expected to move northward and then northeastward and get involved with the approaching front, the moisture from Nicole is going to result in heavy rainfall across portions of the southern Appalachians. You can see here along the Appalachian Mountains in western North Carolina and Virginia, we could see isolated amounts as high as 6 inches, and then widespread rainfall totals of 1 to 4 inches in the western mid-Atlantic states and on up into the northeast as we go from Friday into Saturday. And that's going to result in sort of a broad risk of flash flooding, first here in Florida on Wednesday into Thursday, and then into Friday into Saturday morning across the Appalachians and up into the western mid-Atlantic states. So this is going to be a large-scale rainfall event that could cause at least scattered flash flooding in all these locations you see in yellow here. Now, go back to the wind threat. Because Nicole is a large storm, we have tropical storm warnings in effect for much of the Florida Peninsula, essentially from Miami northward all the way to Jacksonville and west to just to the east of the Tallahassee area. Again, especially inland, the Orlando metro area, Tampa area, you could see sustained tropical storm force winds, especially tropical storm force wind gusts. That could cause scattered tree damage, power lines down. Some of these areas are still dealing with the cleanup from Hurricane Ian, so there's debris around. So it may not be safe to be out in some of these areas, especially overnight tonight and into Thursday morning. And you also see the tropical storm watches and warnings that extend up into portions of southeast Georgia and southern South Carolina. Now, with landfalling tropical storms and hurricanes, we also have a tornado threat. The tornado threat is going to be greatest today along the east coast of Florida, especially to the right of where the center of Nicole makes landfall overnight tonight into early Thursday. That tornado risk is going to move up into the coastal portions of the southeastern U.S. on Thursday, places like Jacksonville, Savannah, Charleston, and then on Friday, it's going to expand into the eastern Carolinas, places like Columbia, Wilmington, Raleigh, out to the North Carolina Outer Banks. So a real multi-hazard event. Be in your safe place, especially in the Florida East Coast in that hurricane and those storm surge warning areas. Please pay attention to any evacuation orders you've been given as that water starts to come up. Be in a safe place from now through tomorrow morning. Thank you for tuning in to the National Hurricane Center. I'm Mike Brennan, and we'll have more updates on Nicole through the week.